series of videos, we'll look back at the 1975-76 season, as Q.P.R. tried to win the First Division Championship. So after an unbeaten start to the season in August, September began with a trip to Birmingham, who were without a win so far, taking just 1 point from the opening 5 games. Dave Sexton had to make 2 changes to the side that had played so well in the draw with West Ham. Dave Webb returned to the team in place of Ian Gillard, whilst John Hollins came in for the injured Jerry Francis. It was Birmingham who opened the scoring though through Howard Kendall, and it was the first time that Q.P.R. had been behind in a game all season. Rangers had a real battle on their hands, but Dave Thomas cut inside in the 74th minute before firing past the keeper to equalise and earn Rangers a point. That draw saw us drop to 4th place in the table, as wins for Man United, West Ham and Leeds saw them sit above us in the table. Liverpool's narrow win over Sheffield United saw them draw level with Q.P.R. on 8 points, but Q.P.R. were above them on goal average. Now, clubs on the same number of points were separated according to goal average that season. Now, that was goals scored divided by goals conceded. That system sort of favoured the teams who had scored fewer goals, and it was replaced the following season, but it was what we had that year. Next up for Q.P.R. was a break from the league with the second round of the League Cup, and a genuine chance to challenge for some silverware for Dave Sexton's team. We faced Shrewsbury away, who were coming off the back of being promoted from the 4th Division. Rangers put a strong side out, with Frank McClintock and Jerry Francis returning from injury, but we fell behind in the 7th minute when Chick Bates set up a potential upset. Rangers proved to be too strong for them though, equalising through Dave Webb in the second half, before late goals from Masson, Thomas and Mick Leach saw us win 4-1. Which was a little bit flattering towards Rangers, but it set us up for a place in the 3rd round. It was the top of the table clash next, as former Q.P.R. manager Tommy Docherty brought his Manchester United team to Loftus Road. Now, Docherty had helped rebuild United after their shock relegation in 1974, and he had a new young team with the likes of Steve Coppell, Lou Macari and Sammy McElroy. They were unbeaten and top of the league, so it was a great test for both sides, with the big match cameras in town.
So these are the men then who face a stern test against Queen's Park Rangers today. Queen's Park Rangers against Manchester United. It really has a ring about it, and let's first of all sort out the 2 teams for the game. Rangers, in fact, will field the side that won in the League Cup at Shrewsbury in midweek. And that means that you can see Mickey Leach keeping the number 4 shirt and leaving Johnny Hollins as a substitute. As for Manchester United, they've had a late shock. Brian Greenoff is unfit, so Tommy Docherty plunges another of his youngsters, 18-year-old Scottish boy Arthur Albiston, into the defence for this first game of the season.
A little lucky with that one, he was a bit slow to get to it. And now Thomas. The red shirts are swarming back, 2, 4, 6, 7 of them in defence. Jerry Francis there winning it in the air, and Houston under trouble as Leach went in. And a corner to Q.P.R. Gillard going right up on the goal line. It's already taken though as Bowles turns it in. Gillard with a header against the crossbar. Yes! It's David Webb. Well, the corner was quickly taken. It caught Manchester United out. Gillard managed to flick it on from the near post, and David Webb finished it off with a header. Jackson. Well, he's given that to Thomas. What can Thomas do about it? Well, his pace carried him past the youngster there. There's the cross going in for Gibbons. Oh, my goodness. Superb play by Rangers, capitalising on the undoubted pace of Thomas. And then as the ball came in, the sweeping skills of Don Givens just a fraction too high. Good challenge by Gillard. Now Thomas. Good ball by Thomas, and a good piece of running by Stan Bowles too. Turn to the near post. Oh, and a great save there by Stepney. But above everything else, another brilliant Rangers move. Bowles and Givens combining so well. And Givens just failing to turn it in. Stepney doing supremely well for Manchester United. McClintock. Francis. So often, though, when the crowd baits Stan Bowles, it's Stan Bowles who has the last laugh. Francis. And Francis going on to take that one from Leach. The feet were high there. My goodness, those Manchester United feet were high on Jerry Francis. I don't think they've paid to get in. Massa with the free kick for Rangers. Deep towards Mickey Leach. Thomas will hope to get on this as well. He's taken down and a penalty given. A foul by Buchan, a penalty to Rangers, and this is the moment for Bowles. I would have thought, and I wonder whether they'll give it to Bowles. No doubt that when Buchan challenged Dave Thomas, that the referee had no alternative to give the penalty, and Bowles now, with the chance to put Queen's Park Rangers 2-0 into the lead, and to silence those Manchester United fans who baited him for so long in the first half. Now, Stan Bowles, the responsibility on his shoulders against Alex Stepney, and Stepney has saved it the first time, and he saved it the second time, and they're getting it away now. Manchester United, no, a free kick given, but the penalty has been missed by Stan Bowles. And I wonder when the last time was that Bowles, who is so good and so cool with penalties, could have missed one. But Stepney dived smartly to his right there, and Bowles was denied. To Koppel, and now to McElroy. Now Don Gibbons. He's all right, he's onside. All he's got to do is to find the angle, and he's put it wide. Well, that was a remarkable miss there by Don Gibbons, because he seemed to have done everything right. And he found a yard and screwed it just wide, when in fact he got both Bowles and Thomas outside him unmarked.
So a great win for QPR as we moved up to third place. Man United stayed top on goal average after West Ham could only draw at Leicester, while Spurs defeated Derby put them in the bottom three. Goalscorer Dave Webb spoke to the big match to describe his winning goal.
Well, I was a bit fortunate in as much that they took the corner a bit quickly, and I think Stuart Pearson dwelt a little bit as I was getting to the edge of the box, and he allowed me to get behind him. And as the ball, Ian Gill had done fantastic get up heading it, and headed it against the crossbar.
In fact, we see you arriving fairly late on the scene there at the bottom of the picture now.
That's correct. I think if you see he looks at me there, then he turns away and then starts to watch the ball. Therefore gave me just a little bit of a chance to get behind him. And as in it hits the crossbar, and it allows me just where I like to be with my head.
The game had also seen Stan Bowles miss a penalty, and the big match had a unique interview with Bowles and United keeper Alex Stepney.
Well, you know, I'd made up my mind where to put it straight away, and fortunately for Alex, you know, he went the right way.
Do you think he moved?
Well, I've got to say he moved, haven't I?
What about it, Alec? Had you made up your mind to go that way before?
Yes, I did, yeah. I'd like to know what Stan was saying to me before he took the kick. That was the main thing.
What were you saying to him before you took the kick?
Well, Alec had been playing so well, I said, you'll probably go and save this one as well, and he did.
I don't believe that.
It was a little fruitier than that, was it?
I think it was, yeah.
Our next game was away at Middlesbrough, who had won all 3 games at home so far without conceding a goal, but sat in 15th place after losing 3 times on the road. An unchanged QPR side had a real bruising encounter that day. Don Gibbons was carried off 5 minutes into the second half with a bruised thigh, whilst Frank McClintock also suffered an injury, but due to only having one sub, he played on to avoid us having to be down to 10 men. Middlesbrough had Graham Souness in midfield, and he was taking no prisoners, with some, shall we say, robust tackles early on. But not wanting to be bullied, Rangers reacted, with Dave Webb and Frank McClintock grabbing Souness by the neck, which seemed to quieten Souness down a little bit. Considering those injuries, it was a good, hard-fought point in the end for QPR, as we drew 0-0, with Phil Parkes impressing in the Rangers' goal. We remained third in the table, 2 points behind Man United and West Ham, who had both won, West Ham beating bottom side Sheffield United 2-0. But it was still very close at this early stage, with just 3 points separating the top of the table down to 7th place. It was back to Loftus Road next for a midweek game against the Leicester side, still without a win. Gibbons and McClintock recovered from injury to both start the game in another close encounter. We won the game 1-0 thanks to a Mick Leach goal, but only after a fine goalkeeping performance from Mark Wallington kept the score down, with Q.P.R creating tons of chances. We had to endure a nervy end to the game, but we held on to move into second place, level on points with Man United, who had lost away at Derby. West Ham and Liverpool didn't play due to playing in Europe that season, so they both had a game in hand over Rangers. Saturday the 27th of September saw the first Manchester derby since Dennis Law's goal for City had relegated Man United.
And is it going to be an own goal? Yes, it is, by Nickel. Makari to McElroy. Pearson in a good position, taken away from him, but a shot by McCreary is in! This is their fourth corner. City yet to have one at all. And that's in! Lou Makari, I think, got the final touch. Here comes the corner from Stewart. Doyle! Whoa! 2-2!
A win for Q.P.R at home to Newcastle would put us top of the table. Newcastle had goal-scoring machine Malcolm McDonald back from injury as he looked to help his side to a big win. It was another really tight game. Rangers played some lovely stuff with Don Masson orchestrating things in midfield. The winning goal came when Bowles released Dave Clement down the right and his pass forward found Mick Leach, who burst into the box to finish it off with his fourth goal of the season. It finished 1-0 and Rangers were top of the table on goal average, above West Ham, who had won at Wolves the same day. Man United, Leeds, Derby and Middlesbrough were all close behind in what was a really open title race at that early stage. So with Rangers still unbeaten, it was a trip to fifth place Leeds United next in front of the Match of the Day cameras, with Mick Leach missing out for injury and he was replaced by John Hollins.
Francis had plenty of room, and is it a penalty? Yes, brought down by Madeley. So Stan Bowles against David Harvey. Bowles makes it look easy. McClintock knows better than anybody what a bad mistake that was. Yorith again. Clark's flick just hit Webb. Here's Lorimer. A Lorimer special.
So a first defeat of the season then for Dave Sexton's side, as Man United returned to the top of the table, despite only drawing 0-0 with Leicester. Leeds were only a point behind now, though, and like West Ham, they had a game in hand on Rangers. It was back to the League Cup next, and a home game against third division Charlton. Rangers were well below their best, with Charlton having the better of the game, and they went ahead after half an hour thanks to a goal from Colin Powell. Rangers rallied a bit in the second half, with Stan Bowles equalising with a rare-headed goal before he hit the bar from a free kick. The game finished as a draw, though, and he set up a replay at the Valley a week later. It was back to the league next, though, and Everton were next to Loftus Road, knowing a win would put them level on points with Rangers, but Dave Sexton's side were not messing about.
Gibbons, a beautiful finish from Don Gibbons to put Rangers ahead. Willock's free kick, flicked into the area, Francis goes up, Bowles, pulls to Thomas, Masson. Don Masson's first league goal of the season is a spectacular strike, and Rangers have two. Away goes Francis, the Rangers captain, he's rounded the keeper, Jerry Francis. It's his first goal since August the 19th, but when he scores, it's always spectacular. him, and he really took this one like a first-rate striker. Great goal for Rangers. The Everton defence have had a torrid time here at the Bush today. Lovely ball from Bowles, out to Francis. Cuts inside the Rangers captain. Little flick on from Masson. Here's Jerry Francis. It's 5. A sublime finish from the England captain. Bowles found him out on the wing. Nothing looked on. And then a little change of pace. Cutting inside, on the left, on the right. And it's this beautiful touch from Masson, right into his path. And an absolutely exquisite finish. Gives Rangers 5. It's a rout.
An emphatic 5-0 win put us back to the top of the table, level on points with both Man United and West Ham. Liverpool's win at home to Birmingham put them in 4th place, just 2 points behind Q.P.R. The goals continued to flow after that 5-0 win in the League Cup replay at Charlton, who started the game really well in what was proven to be a tricky night for Rangers. But Dave Thomas opened the scoring from distance before Don Masson made it 2, and Stan Bowles added a third, dribbling past 2 desperate challenges before finishing it off with a lovely finish. We travelled to Turf Moor next to face Dave Thomas' former side Burnley, who was sat in the bottom half of the table, following a disappointing start to the season. Frank McClintock missed out on this one, with John Hollins coming back into the side. Rangers dominated the game, but we just couldn't find a way past goalkeeper Alan Stevenson. Masson, Gibbons and Clement all went close before Francis and Bowles both missed chances to put us in the lead. It was turning into a really frustrating day, with Rangers looking like they'd have to settle for a point, before Frank Casper scored in the 87th minute to give Burnley the win. That defeat saw us drop down to 2nd place, with Man United winning at home to Arsenal, although West Ham's defeat at Middlesbrough meant we stayed above them. If that game was one that Rangers lost but should have won, the opposite was true when bottom of the table Sheffield United came to Loftus Road a week later. The Blades came to defend, and did so really well, keeping us out, and they had chances themselves, with Phil Parkes making a fine save to keep out Dearden after good work by Tony Curry. Rangers needed a goal desperately, and it came as Stan Bowles sent Francis through, and he pulled it back for Don Gibbons to head home from close range with what proved to be the winning goal. On that same day, Rangers' closest rivals met, with West Ham taking on Manchester United.
White shirts are in there in force now. 2, 4, 6, 7 of them inside that West Ham penalty area. As the free kick comes over, Houston is there with a header. Oh, and it's there! Scored by Macquarie. Now Patton for West Ham. There's the cross coming in. And goal! Yes! Bobby Gould! 2-1.
So a win for West Ham ensured the top 3 all had the same number of points, but Q.P.R were back to the top of the table on goal average. Derby were 4th, just a point behind, whilst Liverpool, Leeds and Everton were just 2 points behind, and 8th place Middlesbrough just 3 points behind. It was a very tight and exciting league, but as we approached November, Rangers were starting to feel confident that they could really challenge for the title. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. Coming up in part 3, Rangers' form begins to stutter a bit as we approach the Christmas period and we face a key match away at Liverpool.